Welcome back, humor consumers, to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
I'm Cathrine, co-host Bestie.
Hi, Cathrine.
Hello.
Welcome to the Pod Lab.
Thank you.
Scared you this morning.
Big
Literally.
time. Yes. I mean, it was one that really got my heart jumping this time.
Yeah.
A lot more than
Usual?
the other times.
If you're not aware, Cathrine and I are best friends, and we have been for 20-ish years, something like that. And we used to live next door to each other. Mm-hmm. And during that time, I would scare her from time to time. All the time.
Yeah.
A lot of times. Mm-hmm. Well, it typically started out because I would be waiting for you.
Right.
Because you were not
on
time.
No, you were just early.
Okay. We had this discussion on the last podcast. Uh-huh. If you missed it, tune in to just last week's episode about Cathrine.
Karen? Where'd that come from?
Who's Karen? I don't know. But her timeliness.
Uh-huh.
Anyway,
yeah.
I would just be waiting for Cathrine to come to go for a walk or to go shopping or to pick up the kids or whatever.
Work, too.
Right. Go to work. And I just got tired of waiting, so I would just hold up my phone and wait for her with that. And then she would open the door and not expect me to be standing right there. And it would startle her.
I think it began one time you were sitting in my car.
Yes, I was.
Had that SUV.
Right.
And it was in the garage.
Yes.
And I didn't know you were sitting in there.
Right.
So I went in to, go get you. And, that's one of the times
that was the first time.
Really. Yeah, I think so, too.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, because I was tired of waiting. And so I thought I'll just walk over. And then I thought, well, I'll just get in the car. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, if you haven't seen these videos, I put them up on our social media, my social media, Tracy DeGraff Comedian. Mm-hmm. You can check them out on Instagram, Facebook. I don't think I have them on YouTube. I'll have to put them on YouTube too. All right. Well, let's jump in to our topic today, which is embarrassing moments.
Yeah.
And
which happens to everybody.
Oh, everybody has had embarrassing moments for sure. Well, we have 3 takeaways from our podcast today that we think you'll get out of tuning in. One is we're going to share with you our experiences. I have several. Cathrine has one.
I can only think of one that really sticks out. I know.
Hopefully you'll think of more.
I mean, I'm 53, so I'm sure I've had a lot. I just can't think of any.
Yeah, we'll see how it rolls. All right, so we have our experiences, and then we're going to share with you what to do.
Yeah.
If you're in an awkward situation that could be considered embarrassing, what you can do.
Yeah.
And then also, finally, what not to do. So you got your to do, you got your not to do. We always have a call to action, so stay tuned to the end because we're going to give you a little assignment. And we close with some spiritual encouragement. Can't beat that.
Always good. Yeah.
Worth the price of admission, which is actually free. Speaking of that, we have sponsors. Who are they, Cathrine?
Kenny and Ron, our husbands.
Yeah.
Their nicknames are Muffin and Pooh. And then
call them Puffin.
Yeah.
Pooh Muffin.
In case you're new to this podcast.
Yeah, right. If you've heard us say that a million times, we're sorry again. Yeah. Not sorry. All right. Let's jump in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Our experiences. Tell me yours first since you only have one.
All right. The one that sticks out the most was many years ago. I was in 5th grade.
Oh, we're going way back.
I know, but it was awful. And
5th grade.
Yes.
Were you 11?
Yep.
Okay.
About that,
All
I think. And we had a week-long, field trip. I don't even know if you could call it a field trip if it's a week long. And we went to this place with cabins in Wisconsin. I don't even remember.
This
Maybe
was for
Lake
school?
Geneva. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was lucky enough to be able to go. And we had to have roommates that were not our friends so that we could get to know others. I was real excited to get to know these 2 other gals because I liked them, but we just weren't friends.
Okay.
But they were friends. So I was like a third person as far as I remember.
Third wheel.
Yeah. And I was very, very obedient child. So I didn't like to break the rules, when an adult said...
You're the firstborn.
Uh-huh. And one of the activities that we did was square dancing. Okay, so every day we had something fun to do. And in this particular thing, we had some square dancing or some kind of dancing. And I think it was my turn to sit out. I had to go to the bathroom so bad.
Oh.
But
you didn't want to ask, like, can I be excused to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, because they said, don't leave
interrupt
this room. Oh. And so I thought, okay. And I had to go so bad. And I sat in the chair. And there was those, plastic resin chairs that was scooped out for your butt.
Right.
So anything that happens would leave a puddle.
Oh, no.
I went to the bathroom.
No.
And yes, I did. And I was mortified. And then when we had to leave in single file. So that meant I was exposed, and I knew it smelled. And when we got back to the cabin, I didn't want my new friends to know. So, and I'm like, oh, my clothes are going to smell. I don't even remember what I did with them. But I do remember, like, bundling them up. I can't imagine.
You probably threw them away.
I don't remember.
Well, did they notice that you had done that?
They didn't ever say anything.
Oh, that's so sweet. They probably knew. They probably knew.
But if they knew, which they had to have, they never said anything. Mm-hmm. They never made me feel bad or anything like that. And that's also, too, that same field trip. I had to go to the bathroom all the time.
Wow.
That same field trip.
See a doctor.
We were visiting something outdoors, and there was nowhere to go to the bathroom. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to go. So I went into like this briar patch of some sort.
And you went? Same trip?
You know how, I don't know if you've ever done that, like gone outdoors and you pull your pants down and you...
Did you pee on your pants?
They weren't down far enough because there was a boy somewhere close and I didn't want him to see me. So then my pants weren't down far enough.
So
there I went again.
First you peed in your pants and then you peed on your pants.
Yes. Same field trip.
Wow. I'm surprised that you're a well-adjusted adult, Cathrine.
I know.
I'm shocked.
Seriously, yeah. Especially that age. 5th grade.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
And you just got the talk?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeesh.
So those were the two that stick out the most. I'm sure I've had many, many others throughout my lifetime, but...
Well, if you think of another one, you just feel free to jump in, because I'm sure there's been more.
Yes. Did I not ever tell you those two stories?
If you had, I have pushed them back.
Oh, yeah.
I don't recall you telling me those, but it is pretty funny.
Oh, it's so crazy.
I don't recall like an adult trying to help you or give you like, hey, Cathrine.
That may have happened, but when you're flooded with embarrassment, you don't always. You just the tragedy is what sticks out the most. So I don't think an adult. I don't recall.
Wow,
it's a long time ago.
I'm sorry that happened, but that's the nature of the human body. It's amazing and disgusting at the same time. Mm-hmm. So it'll turn on you in a minute.
Yeah. And, it's funny. I look back at Cathrine, the 11-year-old, and not wanting to, break the rules or disrupt anything. And I'm really not that different today.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to. Well, thank you for being bold to share that, because that was, that was definitely fits into the category of awkward.
Oh, yeah.
And embarrassing. Mm-hmm. Well, I have a full list.
Let's hear it.
And most of mine, in fact, I think all of them
are later years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's from comedy.
Yeah.
It's being on stage.
Well, you put yourself out there, so.
True that. Mm-hmm. The first one that I could think of was at the Second City.
Okay.
When I was a student there, when I first decided to do stand-up comedy, I live in the Chicago area, so I took a class at the Second City. Mm-hmm. Isn't that what everybody does?
Yeah.
Not really.
Not.
And it was an awkward situation anyway, because I was a middle-aged woman.
Church lady.
Yes. Not only a middle-aged woman, but a church lady. Mm-hmm. And I came into this class of boys. They were boys.
Yeah.
They were young.
Men.
They all could have been my kids.
Yeah.
And they weren't middle class or middle age, not middle class. They weren't middle age women. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
And I don't think they were churchy. Anyway, so that was it was like a setup for awkwardness. But what happened to me is with Second City, when you train with them, you go through the course, of whatever. You go every week to the class and they give you assignments, and then you do the assignments and you come back, and then you have a graduation. And at the graduation, it's a show, and you invite your friends and family, and they all come.
Wait, pause.
Yeah.
At that season of your life, were you wearing skirts a lot because you had to for one of the boys' schools? So were you?
Well, I did wear a skirt to church on the day that was the day of my first class.
Okay.
And so then I just wore that to the class. So yeah, let's stand out even more. Put her in a skirt.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But that wasn't as odd as what happened on the graduation performance, which is a stage show.
Okay.
So you're on stage at the Second City, and it's kind of a thing. It was exciting, blah, blah, blah. Well, I had the flu. And it was terrible. It was like the flu, like influenza flu, not like the stomach flu.
Oh my gosh.
But I was so congested from my chest to my top of my head. It felt like a bomb was about to go off. So I couldn't really breathe, but the show must go on,
The
Cathrine.
show must go on. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And the timing, you don't even get sick that often.
No, I don't.
Oh,
I
man.
lived all the way through COVID and was exposed many times and never got it. Yeah. Whatever. Thank you, Lord. Anyway, so for my performance, which I had to do, first of all, I was slathered up in Vicks.
Oh, God. Well, the church lady smells like Vicks or Bengay or whatever.
Well, that is my generation.
Yeah.
Our parents used to slather Vicks on us when we were kids and send us to bed and cover us with a bunch of things so we'd sweat it out.
Yep.
Well, I thought the Vicks would help in some way. So I had Vicks everywhere. Then I had this big scarf on to hold the Vicks in.
And you get hot so easily.
Yeah, but I had the chills. I really had influenza.
Oh my gosh.
It was rough.
You can't do that today. Like go out anywhere if you have
Well, the
bug,
one thing I
'cause
didn't have
COVID.
was a cough. I did not have a cough,
Yeah.
but I had the fever, I had the chills, and I had the stuffiness. Okay. So I'm dealing with all of this, and I get up on stage, and I've got my Vicks, and I've got my scarf, and my head's about to explode. I'm feverish and chills.
Oh, no.
And I go to do the thing. I totally forgot my jokes. Totally.
Oh, my gosh.
And because this was a student graduation performance, we were allowed to bring up our little cue cards, Well, I was searching first in my head for a punchline of a particular joke that I was doing, and it wasn't there.
It's clogged.
Oh, it was coated in Vicks. There was no coming back. And then I was even looking at my cards, and I couldn't find it. And then I looked at the next card, and it wasn't there.
I don't think I know this story.
It was horrible, and it was obvious to the audience that I was a mess. And I just said, it's not here.
Oh, my. I can't believe you went on after that. Like you continued in this trajectory of
the
comedy.
career?
Yes.
I know.
I
Because that should shoot you right down.
that would shoot me down. No, this is going to happen again, but I'm not going to let it happen again because I'm not doing it. That's how I would be.
I don't know why I do what I do. All right. So that was the Second City, my first, really embarrassing.
Well, how'd you get out of it? I mean,
all I did was admit what happened. I'm standing there. I don't have a punchline, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, I could read these cards all day, and it's still not going to be there. So I don't know.
And you graduated?
Yeah. I gave them money, Cathrine. You pay, there's no grade.
Okay.
Everybody gets through. You pay, and they pass you. That's what it is. It's a business.
Oh, wow.
The Second City, it. I mean, it wasn't their conservatory or whatever they call it, like their high echelon of people that go. It wasn't that. It was just
good for you.
We need these other people who think they're funny to get up here and try this and
Thank
embarrass
God
themselves.
that you didn't make it worse by trying to crack jokes or things like that. That you just said
this isn't happening.
Right. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, it was terrible. All right. Maybe a year or two after that, because the first really 4 years of me doing stand-up at all was all trial and error, mostly error. And that's where most of this comes from. Remember the North Judson, Indiana Mint Festival?
I sure do. I wasn't there, but I remember you going and reporting back.
They grow mint there.
Yeah.
In North Judson, Indiana. First mistake I made was we live in Illinois, and I thought, oh yeah, Indiana, right over the border. No. It's not
your atlas, Tracy.
It's not like a 20-minute ride. It was like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
One way in the summer. I had no AC in my car.
Oh my gosh. What car was it?
I don't even remember. It was that long ago, but the AC wasn't working. And the other thing was I had at that time, it was like a Garmin.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't like a GPS on your phone. It was like the little separate.
It's programmed, so it doesn't update.
Exactly. It had me in the middle of a cornfield in a gravel road. The corn was high. I was like, where am I?
He wants you too, Tracy.
So I had all of that. Then I get there, and this performance, this thing, I was emceeing it was almost like American Idol, but it was like the Mint Festival Idol. And it was really kids doing songs, and I was just emceeing. So nobody was there to see me. Not one person came to see Tracy. I was just there emceeing the thing, right? And we're packed into a gymnasium, no AC, hardly any ventilation. It's basically like we're in a box, and we're all hot. Everybody's hot. We get through it, and there's no payment involved. Like I'm not paid for gas. I'm not paid for my time.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to leave. And the people are talking about the mint. I'm like, I never knew there was a mint festival, and I didn't know how mint, came about. I didn't know it was a plant that was grown in the ground.
Wow.
And by the way, we love the smell of mint, right?
Oh, yeah.
But these people claim that when it's harvest time for mint, it stinks to high heaven when they harvest it.
I imagine that it's extremely intense and strong.
It's not what you would think.
Okay.
They say it does not smell like mint at all.
Oh.
It's like the mint smell comes from the extraction or something of the oil, and that process isn't done until it's somewhere else. But when they're harvesting it, it's very smelly.
Oh.
Yeah, weird, isn't it?
Yeah, because when I pick it from my garden, it smells great.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they were pulling my leg, because here's the other thing they said. They said that they would give me a bottle of mint, as a thank you for coming.
Yes. Here's your payment.
Yeah, so I was paid with mint.
Which
they told me, they said it's good for stress relief. All you have to do is smell it.
So
I'm like,
all the way home.
All the way home from North Judson, Indiana. I'm smelling my mint.
Because you're stressed.
Yeah.
Because you did all of that in the heat and you didn't get paid. So
well,
stressful.
and I knew I wasn't going to get paid.
Yeah, but still.
But I didn't know it was 2.5 hour drive in the heat. I didn't know that the air conditioning was not working on the gym. All that.
Oh.
All right, another one. At the church. This also happened in Indiana. It was a church.
Well, you perform a lot in Indiana.
Do.
So,
I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm at a church. It's a small church. It was Tammy Rodig's church.
Oh,
our friend.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And it was a women's conference. There were maybe 30 women in the room. And I was just, there for entertainment. They didn't know who I was. I was doing my thing, and they were laughing hysterically, like overdoing it. And I'm going, wait, what? You know.
I didn't even get to the punchline yet.
Right.
Why are they laughing when they're not supposed to laugh?
Right. But I just thought, oh, okay, they don't get out much. And I kept going.
These Indiana people.
Right. They got the corn, the mint. They need laughter. So, maybe I kept going for like 10, 15 minutes. It's quite a while. And they're just roaring, laughing and roaring, and they're like nudging each other and whispering. And I'm like, what is going on? Well, pretty soon, Tammy, who is my friend, she comes up on stage, which is not a big stage. It's just up to the front by the microphone, right? In front of these 30, and she whispers in my ear, your zipper is down. It's down. And it wasn't just down, like a little bit down. It was down. And my underwear, I was wearing like granny panties.
Yeah.
So they were white and full briefs. And so you could
what
just...
color were your pants?
Probably, I think I was wearing jeans.
Yeah, so that's even more of a contrast.
Hello. And I have a little bulgy belly, whatever. So the zipper was down and out.
almost like a curved diamond shape.
Yeah, like an oval. And there it was. And they just couldn't stop laughing. So then she went back and sat down, and now I have the information. Now I know why they're really roaring, right? Yeah. And in my act, I had been just talking about being a mother of 5 boys and the challenges of that. So first thing,
went with it.
Well, yeah, I had to.
Yeah.
But you don't have time to think when you're in that moment. So I put my finger up and I went, wait a minute. And I turned around and I zipped up my pants. And I think I said something like, no extra charge.
Yes.
And then I said, this was all part of my plan. I was waiting for my uterus to catch up to me because it was out in the parking lot. And then
that was clever.
Well, I don't know where it came from. And then I motioned like I was pulling on a uterus, collecting it.
That is a good way to handle it.
It got big laughs.
Oh my gosh. Okay. While you were talking,
I knew you were going to think of something.
I remember, and I know you'll remember this too, and it was so funny. I'm sorry, it was at your expense. When we were working at Evelina's, and
wait.
What? Come on.
Wait. Is it going to be this? That one? Oh, what was it?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And so we have this customer, Kim, and she's a hoot as it is.
She is.
And I was on one side. I think I was on the side of the counter with her. Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Or no, opposite, whatever. Anyway, you were behind me, and I think you had a dress or a skirt on.
Right.
And you had bent over.
Right.
And thank God it was only Kim. And okay, I'm going to describe the scene. She dips her head low, and she brings her glasses down and peers above her eyeballs and is like, she starts laughing. Like, what are you looking at? I turn around, and there you are, all exposed. And all 3 of us laughed.
We did.
So hard. That was so funny.
Yeah. I was in like the storage office area. I was cleaning.
Okay?
And reorganizing things and such. And she's like, don't bend over.
Yeah.
In that. You can't.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, whoops.
Yes.
Well, I'm numb from the waist down, Catherine. I don't have any nerve endings down there, so.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's funny. Another funny one. You were not there, but I texted you after this one. So when you're first starting with comedy, you'll take any stage, anywhere, anything with a live body, you're trying out your jokes. And I took this gig, and it was outdoors. And it was in some town, I forgot the name of it, but it was somewhere in the suburbs here. And it was for senior citizens. It was like a senior citizen festival, blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
Was Caitlin there?
Nobody was there. It was just me.
Okay.
It was just me. And I was going on before bingo. So I was basically the opening act, right? Before bingo. All the seniors were there. But none of them were paying attention to me. They wanted bingo. They were like, we want bingo. We want bingo. And they were eating their food and chatting. And there was only one person in the whole crowd that was paying any attention to me at all. And I think that person felt bad for me. So
I was probably the only one that could hear.
Maybe. I think they could all hear when the bingo came on.
Yeah, well,
it was hard to get through that because I was paid for that event, not huge, but I had to just do my stuff.
Yeah.
Because when they pay you for 30 minutes of time, you can't just say, well,
I quit.
They're not paying attention to me. Are they alive? You might want to get the paramedic over here and just check because I think the rigor mortis is setting in.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that was rough. Another embarrassing situation for me when I go up on stage can be introductions when I'm introduced.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be, when that happens, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Because energy in a crowd is a thing.
Yeah.
There's definitely energy situation in crowds. I've had the situation where I've not been introduced at all.
Yes, and then you have to bring it up.
Right. So then you got to go from 0 to 60 in a certain length of time. I've also had the experience in churches where right before I come up, they do
a hymnal.
Yeah, hymn. Like you would at a funeral. you know, and then I got to come on with the comedy.
That is not bringing the mood, right mood.
It's just two different worlds that clash,
absolutely.
and you have nothing to connect them. So that's kind of weird. And then this just happened at the last, time before the last event that I did. The woman that was introducing me, nice as could be.
Sure.
But she said the wrong name. And she was reading it from a paper.
Yeah.
And she didn't just screw up my last name, because it was, she had the wrong first name and the wrong last name.
I know, and I thought, did she just say that?
Yeah. And okay, so then you have to make a decision, because you're in a live situation, and at that particular event there were a couple hundred people there, and it was an actual stage, and it was now time for me to do my comedy, and so I had to think. I didn't know she was going to read the wrong name.
Right. The
right name was on the paper, because I provided the paper. I know my first name and my last name. So I know that something happened. I thought maybe she had a stroke. I don't know. But something...
Maybe she was super nervous.
Something reversed in her head where she read... She could see that it was right, but she read it wrong. So then I have to decide, well, what do I do with this? And like my husband, I told him about it later, and he goes, well, you should have totally made fun of it, and made fun of her. And I go, maybe, but I don't know this person, who introduced me, and I didn't want her to feel bad.
Right.
So
there's a lot of thinking in split seconds.
Oh,
yeah.
I just decided to pretend like it never happened. And I just rolled along with my jokes.
Yeah.
So that was funny. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, and your name, I think, was on the big screen behind you. So I'm sure the audience was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. It was everywhere. They were, Anyway, I don't know. Something happened inside of her head. I hope she's okay. You might remember this. This was funny and awkward and mildly embarrassing, but it was not my fault. Years ago, when Catherine and I both had kids in the youth group at our church. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We looked so much alike that people would get us mixed up. Now, this was back when both of us actually colored our hair. Now, I have a lot more gray hair than Catherine does. Yeah. But we both colored our hair. We both wore glasses that were similar. We kind of dressed, we looked like little peas in a pod. Yeah. In a way. All right. Well, our youth pastor would get us mixed up. He would think that Catherine was me and that I was her. And he would, make comments. Okay. Yeah. It also happened at school. Yeah. Because our kids were in the same grades. And I remember one time somebody said something to one of us. I don't remember if it was me or you, but it was supposed to be for the other person. And you don't know what they're talking about.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then we worked at this Evelina's Red Dresser, which is our favorite consignment store. And one of us was in the back of the store and the other one was up front. And wasn't it a male customer?
Yes.
What happened exactly?
Well, one of us was out and helping him.
Out on the floor in front.
Out on the floor in the front. And the other was in the back.
Right.
And then we had switched. Okay. So then he was confused. Like, didn't you? But that was one incident. But we had another one because there were two stores. Two Evelinas.
That's right. That's right.
And he had been at the one across the street. And you were at that one. I was at the one on the opposite side of the street. And so he took a double look.
Like, how'd you get over here?
A double glance. Yeah. And he was really confused. He's like, how did you get here so fast?
Yeah. It just made for awkwardness in terms of when somebody thinks you are somebody that you're not, it's a weird situation.
Yeah. Remember that woman, she gave you, I think it was one of the first times that, we just started noticing people making comments, and some woman gave you a real big hug at the school.
Oh, yeah.
And she thought it was me.
Right. I'm like, I guess we're friends.
Yeah. And you started piecing it together. Like, she must think I'm Catherine.
Well, I remember feeling afraid, like, am I losing it? Like, this woman is describing things that I should know. And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. And then it felt better when I realized that she thought that I was you. Another situation. This is also a time when you were not with me. Remember when I told you about the time I was an auctioneer for the high school?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Lisa was there.
Yeah, Lisa Kurzawa was there with me. The local high school was doing like a fundraiser for their foundation or something like that, and they talked me into being the auctioneer. I had never done that. I was not getting paid for this, But like I said, when you're starting, you'll take a stage anywhere. And I'm like, oh, auctioneer? I could talk fast. Well, guess what? I cannot do math, and I do not keep track of things in my head. So I'm doing my best to try, but I'm failing big time. And the guy who invited me to be there, he basically took the microphone away from me
while I was
trying.
Yeah. Oh, that would be really insulting.
It was embarrassing and awkward. However, I think that I just really thought about what I was there for, which was to raise money for these kids. And I let that kind of be my guide.
Good for you.
And when we got through with the auction, I had a little space in the program to give like a little motivational pitch for people to get their wallets out and pay up, And I don't remember exactly what I said, but whatever it was, it did work. Because they opened up their wallets and they gave like a lot.
Well, that is...
Now, what motivated them? I mean, was it last call at the bar? I don't know. But whatever it was, that was... Oh, I got through it.
Yeah. Good example. What to do.
Good example. Another time similar...
You do have
I have a whole page of them, Catherine.
While you're talking, I'm thinking, and weren't you embarrassed when you went through the car wash with the Christmas tree? I'm thinking of that.
Yeah, that's in my book, people.
Yeah.
You got to get my book. My book is filled with like 60 embarrassing stories. It is. But on stage, the time that you were with me for that fundraiser that we did for the group, I forget, it was like in the Lafayette area. And there was a table of people there that had a little too much of the free cocktails.
Right.
I'm doing my thing, and they were not engaged with the comedy.
Right.
They were hooting and hollering and all this, and it was extremely distracting to everybody in the room, which was a couple hundred people, 200 or 300. It was in a pretty big
it was
banquet hall.
Right.
Great event. And I'm doing my jokes, and this group over here on
rowdy.
my right, they were rowdy. And they weren't like heckling me.
No.
But they were definitely competing with me for the energy in the room.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, I've been through different comedy shows where I've seen pro comics like shut that kind of stuff down. But that's not me. And that's not why I was there. I was there to raise money. It was a fundraiser.
It was a fundraiser, though.
It was a fundraiser, so I was there to raise money. So I just pretended like it didn't happen and kept going.
Right.
Eventually, it was hard.
Oh, yeah.
It was hard. Eventually,
Christy and I were sitting there like, oh my gosh.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Well, here's what happened. They did calm down. And then when it came time to give the money, that table gave a whole bunch of money.
They sure did.
And they wanted everybody to know about it.
Did they?
They did. That's how I knew that they did, because they grabbed the microphone at the end and said, and I'll give 2,000 from me and Cindy, or whatever the names were, you know?
Right. Oh my gosh.
I know. But in analyzing that after the fact, I was grateful that I just sort of took it on the chin, because so what? Right? I mean, they were having a good time. They got a little rowdy. I wouldn't say out of control. It wasn't like totally crazy.
No, just distracting.
Right, but
times two.
Yeah, and if I had done what I've seen other comics do, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, and in a comedy club situation, it's totally different. Yeah. Because you're there for the whole group, whatever. But if I had tried to shut them down and embarrass them, I don't know what would have happened.
Because it was a fundraiser and you had to do some quick thinking, it's a good thing you didn't, because I have a sneaky suspicion that they may have been offended or angry or whatever. I mean, it was obvious they were drinking.
Right.
And they might not have given what they gave.
Right. And I don't think they were trying to be malicious.
No, I don't
Not
think
at all.
No. They were just having a good old time.
They were having a good old time.
Yeah.
All right, I have a couple more here.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
The whole time I'm like, okay,
what are we going to talk about?
No, I'm thinking, gosh, I had to have had more embarrassing moments. I can't think of any.
I do think that when you are a comedian, you are putting yourself out there. And so you do have more of these stories to tell. Mm-hmm. Especially a lot of this is from the beginning, you know. Mm-hmm. The one time, this was way early on, when I was working with my comedy friend, Michael Isaac.
Oh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And we were doing a show at the Alhambra Theater in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Well,
we had done one the previous month that was fully promoted. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was promoted by me. Mm-hmm. I promoted it a lot. And I had pretty much burned up all my peeps. All my peeps.
Yeah.
They were there. And we had over 200 people there. And it was a great show.
Mm-hmm.
But those people came from miles away, you know, and they're not going to come out again the next month to support again because they already did it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was hoping that somebody else had some peeps, you know, or would promote it to some network, Somebody dropped the ball. Mm-hmm. And there were no peeps. Mm-hmm. So we get there and Muffin was with me.
Yeah.
So it's him and I, and of course Michael, and this other comic, Chris Bow. Mm-hmm. So it was going to be the three of us comics on the bill, whatever. And there were 4 people in the room.
4 sailors, right?
2 sailors and their dates.
Okay. Oh
so
my God.
Two Navy men.
Oh.
And 2 young women with low cut tops.
I seriously would have quit.
Okay. Here's the thing. They paid to get in, Catherine. They paid to get in. Mm-hmm. So we had to do our stuff just like the room was full. And it was a beautiful room. Uh-huh. It was gorgeous. You could have put 250 people in there.
Oh, gosh, the thought of it.
It was horrible.
Oh, it sounds so tragic.
But we had to, the show must go on. So we had to do it and pretend like it was like nothing.
What did Michael and the other guy say? Chris, was it?
Yeah, Chris. Well, Michael, he is, at that time, he was way more experienced than me in comedy.
Uh-huh.
And he just was like, well, no big deal. You know, we just going to have to get up there and do it. I'm like, okay. And so I'm thinking, what am I going to say to 2 sailors and their dates?
Yeah.
And the first thing I said to them was, I served breakfast to more people than are in here right now.
Oh, that's so clever. That's good.
5 boys, you know, what am I going to do? So that was rough. Just had that last fall.
Very awkward.
Last fall, you were with me at the theater in Ohio where there could have been like 1,800 people there, but only 20 in that first show.
Oh.
And it was beautiful theater. Gorgeous.
Yeah,
gorgeous area.
Yeah.
Loved it. And the people that were
in charge,
they were fantastic. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, only 20 people came, you know, because it wasn't Elvis. It was so whatever. And I just had to get out there and do it like a pro, like you would, you know, just rock it like, you know, it's nobody's business. And there was one couple up in the front who they were laughing at every single thing I said. Mm-hmm. And we talked to them afterwards.
Yes.
Because they're in it right now.
Yes, they are.
They're in the middle of family life.
Yeah.
And we just fell in love with them.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about that situation, and what made it worse was, this theater was huge, right?
Yeah.
And yes, there were only 20 people. And on top of it, they were scattered. So it's not even like they were in a clump together, because when an audience is clumped together, it's just a little easier to kind of get the energy and communicate with, right?
Yeah. Although in a room like that, I mean, this theater was really beautiful and gorgeous, and it would have been fantastic if it was full. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's an energy thing, you know. Mm-hmm. And yes, by having them all scattered about, because we were in the middle of the pandemic, and, you know, it was just all, whatever it was, it just makes it awkward.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the elephant in the room situation. And for that particular one, I remember I did do some jokes about the pandemic, and that was fun to do. Mm-hmm. But I didn't say anything about the fact that there were only 20 people in the room.
Yeah.
Because, you know, everybody knows that. So let's just roll with it.
Right. Good job.
That's all I can think of.
Well, that is a lot,
It
Tracy.
is a lot.
Yes.
It
feel
is.
bad that I don't.
Don't feel bad.
Well, I don't put myself out there,
Don't.
So,
Yeah. Well,
but that doesn't mean that you're not going to have embarrassing moments.
well, we all have awkward moments.
Yeah, we
Awkward,
do.
embarrassing, whatever.
Right.
Well, let's segue into what to do and what not to do. I found some information on YouTube,
Yeah.
which is like my go-to.
Yeah.
I found this video, and it's called How to Turn Awkwardness into Confidence. So you're going to go from awkwardness to confidence. And it was kind of like a deep dive into psychology of, human behavior and nonverbal language. And it was a lot of deep stuff. So it's kind of interesting. I'll link it in the show notes, this video, the YouTube video, so you can watch it if you want to. There are 4 takeaways that I got out of it. So these are going to be your to-dos. If you're in an awkward situation, okay, here's 4 things that you can do to try to minimize the awkwardness. Number 1, adjust your body language. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he talked about the typical body language when we're in an awkward situation and we feel vulnerable is to protect, like
Right.
to curl in.
Cross your arms, those kinds of things.
Yeah, and lower your gaze and lower your head and not make eye contact.
Kind of like a child in a way.
Yeah, well, throw all that out the door. Shoulders back, chest out, eyes, make eye contact. And that was definitely one of the things that he said about eye contact.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I can see where that would be very helpful in that kind of situation.
Not only does it help the other person to go, oh, it just exudes confidence, okay,
Yeah,
instead
right.
of awkwardness.
Right.
But it also switches that thing off in your brain that says, I'm feeling so awkward right now, like that flight or fight,
Yeah.
fight or flight. That's the one,
Yeah.
fight or flight. So in eye contact, he talked about 3 seconds, holding the contact for 3 seconds, not just a glance and look away, but 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And if you're in a big group, to go 3 seconds to one side of the room, 3 seconds to the other side, 3 seconds to the middle, that kind of thing. So I thought that was interesting. Second takeaway from this video was to handle friendly teasing.
Okay. And how do you do that?
Well, he goes into a lot of blah, blah, blah psychobabble, which I'm sure is legit.
Yeah.
But this is what I took away from it.
Okay.
Don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
Don't assume that people are out to get you. Kind of like that.
Laugh at yourself.
Like that table of people that were, distracting in my show. So what?
Yeah.
They don't care. I mean, they weren't talking about me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
People are really generally so absorbed in their own problems, they're not thinking about you.
True that.
Yeah. Okay. Number 3, tell your own embarrassing stories. That is really true. And I've made, that's my whole book is about embarrassing stories that I'm the.
So does that mean when someone that you're with is in an embarrassing situation and so then you share your embarrassing stories to help that person not feel so bad?
No, I think that it's more when the way he was describing it in the video is like if you're in a group of friends and you are always kind of like the joke, like you're the one that they tease or whatever. Well, instead of letting somebody else tell something that was embarrassing about you, you learn to tell your own embarrassing stories.
I see. Okay.
So that you're sort of owning it and saying, this doesn't bother me. In fact, it so much doesn't bother me.
Here's another one.
Not here's another one. It's just owning it.
Okay.
It's being confident about it. So what? I did XYZ. So what? I thought it was hilarious.
Okay.
It's not taking it so seriously. It's not like an assault on your character. Like the story about us going through the Christmas tree in the car wash.
Yeah.
That happened. And I have told that story so many times, and it is so funny.
Yeah.
So what? We forgot the Christmas tree was up there.
Yeah. Right.
Life happens.
Yeah.
So it's basically telling your own embarrassing stories, I guess, is letting go, which leads us to the 4th one, which is let go of managing other people's opinion of you.
Yeah.
It's basically not caring.
Yeah.
Just quit caring about what other people think.
Don't give a fiddler's fart.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're not, it doesn't really matter. First of all, they're probably not thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are.
Yeah.
As we already stated. And secondly, even if they do have a negative opinion of you, you're not going to control that narrative. Yeah. Let it go. Let it go. He also talked about your palms and stuff.
Okay.
And he said if your nonverbal communication with your hands is all inward and your fists are clenched and that's a sign of awkwardness. But if you're,
Yeah. Open. It's like a sign of openness.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's a sign of confidence.
Yeah.
And it exudes confidence. And whether or not people believe it, you do feel that energy, just like I was talking about energy in a big room.
Yeah.
There's also energy just between people.
Sure.
Yeah. Bottom line, so those are the 4 takeaways: the adjust your body language, handle friendly teasing, tell your own embarrassing stories, and let go of managing other people's opinions. Those were my 4 takeaways. But here's the bottom line. He said in the end, 99% of awkward situations are just made worse because you care too much about it.
Yeah. That's so true.
If you just lower your caring, if you just lower that, just quit caring.
It is easier said than done, but you can get practicing on it.
Well, the way that this guy described it, he said, embrace the truth of who you really are. And that we're all just trying to put one foot in front of the other.
True.
I don't care who you are. I don't care your social status. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how famous you are. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody goofs up. Everybody forgets things. We're just trying to put one foot in front of the other. That's it.
Very good.
Yeah. Now, what not to do?
Yeah. I would say don't cower. If it's yourself you're in the embarrassing situation, don't cower. Do opposite of what this expert just said. And if it's someone else, just have grace or extend a kind word or extend if you could tell that they're likely to maybe laugh, then go with that.
Yeah, and I would say too that kind of trust your gut maybe.
Yeah.
Not always, because sometimes we can be our own worst enemy.
True.
But err on the side of being conservative when it comes to other people's be a protector of other people's feelings.
For sure.
So when that woman introduced me as, I think it was Terry McGraw.
It was something
like that.
DeGraw.
I didn't want to make her feel awkward. I didn't know her. I mean, I had met her earlier in the night. She seemed very nice. I didn't know what was going on with the paper, but I didn't want to make it worse.
Exactly.
And I didn't want her to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't help what she said, but I didn't have to make it worse. So I made that choice.
Yeah.
Same thing with the people that had too much to drink. Whatever's going on over there, I'm not going to get involved with it. I'm just going to do my thing. Not make it worse.
Yeah.
It was awkward.
And in my example of like when I was in 5th grade.
Yes, back to that.
I know now what not to do. Don't sit in it. Don't make it worse by not, like I could have just said, did this thing and I need to go change right now. Whatever. Just don't cower. Like don't suffer.
Right. Especially when you have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, don't suffer.
Don't suffer, because that stuff's going to come out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, that was fun.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I have planned. What else? Do you have anything that you've not said that you want to say?
No, not really. I don't think.
Well, let's move into our call to action.
Yeah.
What is our call to action today, Catherine?
Have grace.
Yes.
Have grace with yourself. Have grace with others. If we all had more grace, it would be so much of a better world.
I just had this conversation with my niece, and we were talking about kindness. And my niece who did my hair, thank you, Abby, if you're listening. We were talking about kindness, and we both agreed that if everybody knew what other people were kind of battling, if we put our battles out there, this would be a much more kind world.
Yeah,
it would be.
Sure.
All right. Well, let's move to our inspirational close, which comes from Proverbs 12:25, and it says this: anxiety weighs down the heart. Kind word cheers it up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't cost anything to be kind.
Oh, for sure not.
Yeah. What were you going to say? Sorry.
Well, like say, someone you're with is in this situation and they have done something or something very embarrassing has happened to them. I'm sure that they're anxious about it. So then extending a kind word would be a soothing salve, I would say.
Yeah. And sometimes it's kind just to say nothing,
Yes.
So
you have to be able to gauge these things.
I know.
It can be tricky.
I know. Keep this in mind. You never have to apologize for the words that you don't say.
Mm-hmm.
Although sometimes you have to apologize for your silence. So there's that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our next episode for next week, we decided
to eliminate 3?
Yeah.
2 or 3?
Yeah. We have an editorial calendar that we brainstormed months ago.
Yeah.
And we can't figure out why we had decided we were going to do some of these topics. So we took 3 of them off. But next week, we decided we're going to do what women find attractive.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
I think so.
We're going to dive in there. Well, you've been listening to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm still comedian Tracy DeGraff.
I'm still Catherine.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.